Welcome to 4 short Jorts Stor-ies.
Jorts in court.
One time I, Tor Ports, ended up wearing jorts in court. It was a tort. Tor Ports versus Wart Resorts.
For far too long, Wart Resorts had discriminated against jorts. This finally caught up to them when I, Tor Ports, visited Wart Resorts and wore jorts on the course. On the 4th, I hit my ball into the gorse. And that's when a man from Wart Resorts yelled, "Tor Ports, no more jorts." I didn't blame him. He was just doing his job. At least that's what he'd purport.
But folks, the simple fact of the matter is, Wart Resorts used verbal force to remove jorts from Tor Ports.
So I sued him. And after several years, it finally resulted in me standing in court wearing jorts. And if you're wondering, yes, I lost the case. And yes, it cost me a crippling amount in legal fees. Judge Schwartz ruled that a private resort is allowed to thwart the wearing of jorts. And then she kindly asked I not wear jorts to court ever again. But I'll wear jorts wherever I damn please. Sue me.
Big sports.
The sports was in an hour. There was no time to run to the store to buy jorts.
Besides, what would the others think if they saw I, Tor Ports, watching sports in store-bought jorts? So all I could do was find some old jeans.
Only one problem. I didn't have any scissors to turn the jeans into jorts. So I decided not to go to the game at all, rather than show up looking like a fool. Sue me. And it was a good thing I decided not to go to that game, because a raving lunatic stabbed everyone that was watching the sports while wearing jorts.
We've all heard the reports.
The police found the raving lunatic's manifesto the next day, and it was littered with all sorts of rants against sports and jorts. So, it makes sense why he would do that.
Forks.
I was all out of forks. They were all in the dishwasher, I guess. So I stood there in the kitchen in nothing but my jorts, wondering how I could let this happen again. I, Tor Ports, didn't feel like washing a fork. So I did the only thing I could contort.
I used my jorts as a fork. Sue me. It did not work all too well, frankly.
Forks are small and rigid and designed to best facilitate eating. Jorts, however, are big and made of cloth and designed to be worn.
Jorts on the 4th.
It was July 3rd, the eve of July 4th. I, Tor Ports' favorite day to wear jorts.
I could hardly contain my excitement. I had a big day planned, but that day I had planned, it turns out, would not quite go to my plan.
This is a recap of I, Tor Ports' fateful 4th, 'cause of jorts.
My first mistake was washing all my jorts on the eve of the 4th. I wanted to have them all available so I could choose whichever jorts I was most feeling in the morning. Plus, you just never know how many jorts you'll need on July 4th. So I washed them all, and everything went great. Now, of course, I'm a hang-dry jorts kind of guy. Sue me. But in this case, I couldn't risk my jorts not being dry by the morning, so I did something I never do. I threw them in the dryer.
However, I didn't check the dial on the dryer, and it was turned past maximum drying heat, all the way up into the oven settings. And in the morning, I found my jorts had shrunk to an unconscionable size.
And yes, I do have a dryer that doubles as an oven.
And yes, I do also rig up and sell these dryer ovens as a side business. And yes, it is a practical invention. And frankly, most of my customers used to love them.
And yes, my dryer ovens have led to several house fires, roughly 12 million in property damage, and even 1 child death. And yes, that whole headache was a couple states and names ago, so I should be in the clear.
And yes, in fact, I did not report a single penny of the $176,000 I made selling these. You know what? Sue me. This has been 4 short Jorts Stor-ies.